Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lie.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Nee. Join Carl alongside frequent co-hosts Lisa Otey and Hollis Lewis as they explore dynamic conversations with guests from all walks of life. Let's Talk is proudly brought to you by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. Visit frankwalkerlaw.com. The conversation starts now. This is Let's Talk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here and
overcoming obstacles.
All kinds of obstacles. It's cold out, extremely cold. I almost feel like this is starting to get close to Minnesota weather. I might as well be in Minnesota, man.
Amen.
And they're talking about more snow tomorrow.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Never
so much
ends.
for wanting a real winter.
I
got it. Yeah, you got it.
And then some.
More than that. Man, there's a couple of really interesting kind of conversations that I think we are going to explore today. And I think a Green Bay quarterback.
Uh-oh. Right out of here we go.
I think we start there. You know, and we'll go from there to the All-Star games and all of that kind of stuff. Hollis, I think you have the basis of the story, so give us a little bit of background, and we will absolutely can't wait to dive into it.
And Lisa you probably fill me in where I'm missing. So basically, Aaron Rodgers, as you know, he's with the Jets, didn't have a great season, was hurt his first year there, so they've released him, and now he's on the block. So not the trading block, but now people are trying to see if they want to acquire him or not. And a lot of the talk has been like Pittsburgh Steelers could be a landing home. Some people have mentioned the Minnesota Vikings, which it kind of makes more sense to me. But
yeah, I bet it would.
No, I'm just saying it makes more sense.
Following the steps of Brett Favre.
Because that's true, but you're indoors, right? So you're playing against familiar opponents. You're indoors for 9 games because you play the Detroit Lions twice. Yeah. So 9 games indoors. So that kind of makes more sense. But overall, I just don't understand why anybody would want Aaron Rodgers at this point. You're an aging quarterback. You definitely can't run. You still sling it, but your arm's not what it was. And you come with all the problems and the things that are Aaron Rodgers. So at what point did we just say, like, look, thank you for your services, but we're going to move in a younger direction?
Right.
And I'll say this. That guy in the locker room, whether the locker room that he left or the locker room that he goes into, the moment that he tries to be the football god, right? Like, I think what happens in that situation is players take offense to it. They don't like it. And I can't imagine the new age players who are making, good money. Why would you want this dude that you already sense is an issue? I mean, he's coming in as an issue. Everywhere I think that he has gone to, he goes in with an issue, and in turn, he's going to create a division between me and Hollis because Hollis is for it. I'm not for it. I don't like him. Hollis likes him. You're thinking, well, let's give him a chance. And that tears up a locker room.
And correct me if I'm mistaken, but wasn't he the reason the head coach of the Jets left this past year?
I believe so. I forgot about that.
Yes. There's the writing on the wall. The way he left Green Bay, he was a hero. I'm a Packers fan, so I was pro Aaron Rodgers all the way. But the last year or two, it was it was drama. It was a circus. It was just constant. He left the team, on the edge of, is he coming back? Is he not coming back? He played that head game with the GM, with the whole team. And then when he did leave for the Jets, to be honest, most of the Packer, loyals were like, good riddance.
Good riddance.
Because, it was just a toxic. He had gotten to the point where he was just so self-absorbed that he wasn't a team player anymore. It was all about Aaron.
That's where he is now.
And I just wonder, like, again, if I am a team considering bringing Aaron Rodgers in, am I not also considering how the position of quarterback has now changed? When we look at the top four quarterbacks, when we look at, and I'm going by the guys who got the furthest, I'm going Lamar Jackson, Allen, Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. These are mobile quarterbacks who have the ability to dial up design run plays, can throw it, are for the most part, these guys aren't ego guys, neither.
No.
Which is surprising, right? These guys aren't ego guys. These guys are team guys, at least, public facing, right? So it's like the nature of the position is totally changed. And why would you spend any time, effort, or energy in bringing a sort of an antiquated version of what quarterback is?
Well, and I think what I think is they're trying to get leadership. What they're thinking is he can bring.
Think so? Leadership?
I do.
Think so?
I do.
No.
I do. I think
No.
I'm not saying he's the guy, but his name resonates over the NFL.
I'm thinking they're just trying to see if he got one last spark, and
you already
can take
know.
us far. I think that's what they're thinking.
If I'm a general manager, okay, not a coach, if I'm a GM, and I'm considering this or I'm looking at this situation, my homework would be, what did he do there?
Yeah.
What did he do there?
Right.
Where's his path to make me think he can take me anywhere that I haven't already been?
You're looking at Green Bay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, pretty much Green Bay was it.
You
but if you look at his whole body of work as a quarterback in the past, it's like the ghost of Christmas past. We're looking at that, right? I mean, it's like, he was the Hail Mary king in his era.
Yeah, for sure.
He found ways to win games.
For sure.
He was exciting to watch at the time. But like I said, ghost of Christmas past. We're at the present, and I'm not sure. I think the game has left him. And plus, I don't think physically he's able to withstand the defenses and the pressures that, it requires a younger person, a younger version of him to be able to be successful, in my opinion.
An athletic quarterback.
Yes.
And he is not that.
So just to play a game, if we got to say he's got to be somewhere in the league next year, where do you project he could possibly land? That would be the best fit for the team and himself.
What's the worst team in the league?
The Carolina Panthers, probably.
That's where he goes.
Oh,
that's
my
where he
goodness.
That's where
he ain't going there.
He's not going.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me what am I going to be looking for? If I'm the Panthers and I'm the worst, I have the worst record, the worst team in the league, I got nothing to lose. Anybody else, you got something to lose.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I'm going to take a different path, although I think that's pretty hilarious.
That's funny.
It was funny. I think, Devontae Adams followed him there from the Raiders. Yeah. And so, they were thinking, the reunion, they're going to, that spark's going to fly again. They're going to, bring the Jets back to glory days. And I feel like there's been talk in Packer Nation that they want Devontae Adams to come to the Packers because Jordan Love needs those receivers, those reliable receivers. Although I feel like it's kind of he's kind of in the same boat as Aaron Rodgers. I feel like age is catching up with him. Mm-hmm. But I just wonder if it's going to be one of those deals if the Packers would approach, let's just say, the scenario is that they are interested in Devontae, the package deal of, okay, but I want Aaron to follow me.
No way.
You don't think?
No way. You got a young quarterback in Love. He led you to the playoffs. I think not this year, but
he was hurt a lot.
He was. But he's a young kid, and I don't think you move backwards because Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to be a backup.
No,
I don't think he's going to do that.
No, he's not going to want to be a backup.
Yeah.
Don't you think he'll have to be though somewhere? I mean, somewhere wherever you land.
I don't think his ego's loud.
No, but I think.
So do you think he'll retire? I mean, I really think he should retire. In my opinion,
there's no question.
Go out.
There's no question.
I think it's Minnesota. And I say because Sam Darnold, I know that Darnoldson, they're thinking the talk is he's going to move on, which I think is a huge mistake. I don't think that's what I think they should re-sign him and then work to get your quarterback of the future. But if in fact Sam Darnoldson moves on, then I think Aaron Rodgers goes to Minnesota. I think that's fit.
Because they need a quick fix.
Yeah, they got a decent offensive line. They got good skill players. They got a solid defense. And I think because you're not going to go somewhere, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, where I'm not going into a rebuilding situation. I'm not going to do the Jets again. That was his first mistake. He should have never went to somewhere where now they got to rebuild. You got to go somewhere where it's already happening.
Here's my problem with that. That to me,
but do you feel like the Vikings would want him?
I don't think so.
I can't.
I'm just
imagine.
saying.
I'm hoping, but if they do,
I'll get you a Rodgers jersey for Christmas, Carl.
If they do, this again would follow suit as close to the Herschel Walker deal.
Oh no!
Yes, it is.
There we go.
You ain't giving up nothing for him. You're not giving up anything.
You're not
Rodgers.
getting anything. You're going to lose a quarterback that
took you to the playoffs.
took you to the playoffs.
15-2.
Yes. And you're going to go to a dude older than me. and you're going to expect him you're going to expect him to take you somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying. Where else does he go? You're not going to Arizona. You're not going to the Raiders. I know they talked about Sanford leaving L.A. That I don't know if that's going to work for you, but I'm just thinking, again, you being an older quarterback, you want to go somewhere it's climate controlled for the most part, and you're playing in a familiar division. So I don't know where else you would go.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
they talked about in Green Bay.
They talked about Pittsburgh.
Stranger things have happened.
They talked about Pittsburgh, but I just think that would be crazy for Pittsburgh to do that. I mean, you might as well just keep Russell Wilson if you're going to do that.
What shocks me about him and his reality of still playing. Okay, I knew when I was in New Orleans. I read a play. I knew it was a curl. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be my first pick for the New Orleans Saints. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I make this pick. I run it back, maybe get a 6. And I'm still able to play. I'm as good as I thought I was when I was with the Vikings. Next thing I know, I don't make the pick. I end up tackling the dude. And I am petrified in my mind. Because I saw this like 2 steps in. I'm like, it's a curl. And it was a curl. And I couldn't get there.
Oh.
Now, when you have those moments, I don't know how you forget them. Because I couldn't forget it. I knew at that point, get me through the end of the season, and I'm going home. I'm done. Because I just can't do it. And I have to believe he has seen a curl route that he could throw.
Maybe.
He's in his mind, he's telling himself, oh, I can still make that throw. It's not that I couldn't make another play. Again, there's somewhere I'm going to make a play. I'm going to knock a ball down, get an interception, da-da-da-da. But the fact that I realized I couldn't make, there is a play that I couldn't make that I saw. It wasn't accidental that I didn't get there. It was physically. I couldn't get there. And I knew it. And I knew it wasn't going to get any better. And I guarantee you, he's had to have seen this, and he's acting like, oh, I just missed it. No, you didn't miss it, bro. You don't have it.
You know who's undefeated's Father Time.
Yeah.
No, that's a fact. You can't beat Tom.
So speaking of time, is time up on sports all-star games? It's time up on.
Oh, you made that switch. You made that switch.
I like
because
it.
Listen,
that was smooth. That was smooth.
It's crazy. I did not even realize it was NBA All-Star Weekend. Like, I didn't even know it was happening. I watch sports pretty much or listen to sports every day. We talk it once a week. And I just totally blanked out that was a huge event at one time.
Right.
That you scheduled time to watch and to observe all the festivities, particularly the NBA All-Star. And we talked about the Pro Bowl. I think unless they're going to do like your suggestion where you just take all the sports and you just have like a weekend where you play flag and softball and just make it a big cookout, then I just say scrap it. Because this was horrible.
Was it? I mean, I caught pieces of it, but I think the way to describe a lot of these, especially the NBA All-Star Game, is you can't manufacture soul. I mean, those players, they're going.
That's a cold line
they're
right
going.
there.
They're going through the motions.
That's a cold line.
They're not into it. I mean, it's just pretty obvious. I mean, they're there because they have to be there. And, I think the viewership probably dropped whenever LeBron, what it was, 2 hours before the game, he couldn't play, even though he's played the past 20 years. It's not like he's not loyal to the game. He just couldn't do it this year because of physical problems. And he wants to save himself for the Lakers playoff run. And I get that.
But he didn't have an injury.
I think he did have
yes, he does.
injury. It wasn't like an injury.
Yeah, it's
right.
not like a surgical
and the fact that he didn't really say anything, like he didn't tell anybody, he just shows up in
a couple hours before
the game.
But see, to me, that's not even the most egregious part, right? Number one, you have a G League player who only gets signed essentially to participate in the slam dunk contest.
I knew this was coming.
He doesn't even.
And he's won it 3 years in a row.
He's won it 3 years. This is a fringe G League player.
You don't even know his name.
McClung, is that his
right?
name?
It's Mac McClung.
Mac McClung, but who doesn't even really. You're not making a roster outside of your ability to win a slam dunk contest, and then on top of that, which again, shout out to him because his dunks were phenomenal.
Yes.
He was the highlight.
Yeah.
Right, of the whole weekend.
I mean, he deserves to win.
He deserved it.
Let me just say this: without him,
it's the weekend shot.
Yeah. There is nothing that you can talk about.
Yeah, it's not really much.
Well, you can talk about Kevin Hart. I heard he was on there a lot. Yeah. Like they had all these interruptions, and they said he just would 20-minute breaks. Like the broadcasters at some point they said didn't even know what was going on.
I don't care for him into the sports realm. I don't. I don't.
But then it's like even to the point where you have the skill challenge, which is still pretty okay, right? The 3-point contest, and then you have like the actual skill challenge where it's the dribbling, the passing with the guards. You had Chris Paul, who's an NBA veteran, basically part of this obstacle course, if you will. You have a passing component, a dribbling component, then you have a shooting component, and it's timed, right? So the fastest time wins. Instead of doing like shooting the shots, he just throws the ball in order to get out the obstacle course faster. Him and Wembley. And it's just like, at a point, dude, are you not reading the room? We want to come to see the skills. And you're not even giving us that. I'm just telling you, they ought to just scrap it. Pro Bowl, NBA All-Star, just let it go.
Well, and let me ask this, and hold your thought there. I don't think that the players themselves care about what the fan base is watching, because this is kind of
but you gotta care. That's the point of this.
No, they don't have to.
But you should, right?
You should. Yeah, I granted you should, but I think now I made extra money because I'm playing in the All-Star game. I'm going through all this process, so I'm getting more money. That's additional money that I'm getting paid. No one's playing any defense. None of the old school skill things are being taken as serious as what maybe they used to be. And so when I look at it, like it ends up being a waste of my time in watching it, and I don't think it bothers them one way or the other.
Well, and I'm to your point, Hollis, I agree that they probably should scrap it, but surprisingly, this isn't just an exhibition game. This is one of the biggest money makers the NBA has, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Other than the playoffs and the finals, they make more money on this weekend, this whole weekend, all the activities and the TV viewership than they do throughout the season.
And do you think that's because people are tuning into it, hoping
advertising?
Advertising, they're making that money,
right?
But on the other side, for the viewership, do you think people turn it on, hoping that it's different, and then 10 minutes in they realize it's not?
I think 100%.
And then they punch out.
I think 100%. Again, you definitely used to tune it because it was something special that you wouldn't see. In addition to we talked about advertisement, the players, they'll have like their special All-Stars shoes and uniforms and all that sort of thing. But to me, it's like, if you're not going to at least let it be competitive, again, it's never been like, a playoff game, but we know for 3 quarters they would kind of lollygag, and then that fourth quarter the Heat's getting turned up and somebody want to win. Like the Kobe, Jordan, those type of intensity fourth quarter games where we're seeing the best in the world. And right now, you're literally seeing the best in the world. Because these kids are from all over the planet. So it's just like, why not just take it serious? And then you got to do all these gimmicks. Because at the point when you got to start doing a whole bunch of gimmicks, man, whatever you're doing is shot.
Right.
If you got to start doing a whole bunch of gimmicks, shout out to Baby Dog. If you got to do all that, then it's over.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
go right past that. You go right over.
Because here's what's funny: you're sitting in this room in a suit.
I know.
In a suit and tie, coming probably for something that's really important. And that's what you get.
100%.
But it's perfect. Yeah. Well, here's a question that I'll throw out to you guys and put it out for discussion. But what's happening with the NBA is your big names, your big players that people recognize are getting older. Your younger generation. I mean, you've got LeBron. He's 40. You've got Steph Curry, KD. They're both 36, 37.
Yeah.
Is it time for them to kind of back off and ride off into the sunset, so to speak, here within the next year or two, especially for this game, the NBA, All-Star game, and let the younger players take over? But then who's going to do it? Mac McClung? I mean, we've got to have some bigger names, right? Yeah.
You got to have like the Ja Morant, you got to have the Giannis's. And the fact of the matter is that even to that point, it's like, are things within that league just going to get more intense? Because I think that's the problem I have with the NBA watching it. It just doesn't seem intense. Like you go down, shoot a 3-pointer, they get the rebound, and the other team goes shoots a 3-pointer, and it just becomes just up and down the court doing that. It's like a lack of intensity.
And that to me is what's creating what I would call the dying of basketball, of real basketball, because as great as Steph Curry is, and him hitting those shots, the 3-point shots, even ones way beyond the arc, you walk into any gym with a basketball, the very first place that kid on the basketball court is going to take a shot from is beyond the 3.
Yeah.
And that's not really...
It's not fundamentals.
It's not the fundamentals. And I think... because of these guys are so good, so great, so they can master, you look at Steph Curry and the way he handles the ball, and if I'm a kid and I'm watching him, man, I want to be able to do that. My first time trying to do that in the game, next thing I realize is, I lose the ball. You can't do it. You're not Steph Curry. And I think the game is teaching everything that is wrong because of their greatness. Does that make sense? They're so good at the things that they do that they make the kids want to do these things, and they can't. And they're not willing to put in the work to even have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I mean, my problem with basketball in general is just like, I don't like positionless basketball. Like, I think, like, when you had the Shaqs, when you had, the Karl Malones, when you have guys that's playing on the post, when you had Reggie Miller, he's going to shoot the 3, Allen Iverson going to take it to the hole. Everybody had a distinct skill set that would be used and deployed within the context of the game. And you had so much variety happening around the game. It just made it so fun to watch.
Right.
Even like a Jordan where he was taking it to the rack, and then he developed his post-up game, and he had a mid-range. His game evolved, and you just seen that evolution of greatness. While in the game today, it's almost free-flowing to a fault, if you will. It just doesn't, because it's not actually flowing now. It's just happening.
Well, you don't have the big man that's going to post down low.
Not necessarily. Nah, it ain't too many.
No,
it ain't too many.
They could do it, but that's not what they want. They want the jump shot too.
Yeah, and that's just makes it, to me, it's just hard to watch. I don't know.
Well, and like we said, the care factor is just it's apparent. Like you said, the first 3 quarters that was boring. The fourth quarter, everybody started to really play the game and pick up the pace, and nobody's going to stick around for that. I mean, not for the whole game.
Yeah, I'm gone by the time you all pick it up.
Yeah,
but see, that's the Pro Bowl as well. You know,
the Pro Bowl,
Right.
it's washed.
It really is, because you can't fake football. Like you can't,
Right.
You can't do that. Yeah.
you know, there's no 3-pointer that you can hit that makes everybody happy. You know,
And personally, I don't want to see dudes play flag football. I mean,
I don't either.
it's cool, but you're gonna go half speed in flag too. So it's just like I don't want to see these great athletes
I
play
don't want to
flag.
see anybody play flag football. I mean, period.
It's cool, but I don't want to see.
I might play, but
Yeah.
So okay, so to your point, Lisa, when we talk about flag football, is it going to be something that ultimately is going to challenge football? Do you think it's
Flag
going
football?
to? Yes.
Nah.
I can't ever see that happen.
I think you'll have women. I think there'll eventually be, because I know there's women leagues in some states in high school.
I think that there's. I think, is there not one just got?
Nah, I don't think it's here locally. Not that I'm aware of.
No.
But I know there's some states have like women's flag in the high schools, and some colleges have women flag. So I think you're going to see that, which that'll be fun to watch. But as far as flags, man,
But see, I think okay. So I know this for a fact. Okay, that flag football is going to take place somewhere here in the valley. We'll have men's.
I can see soccer doing way better than flag football. I mean, if you're going to find a replacement for NFL football.
My fear is for some of the kids who don't want to play football, or the parents who don't want their kids to, quote, play football because of the injury issue. I could see
flag
football for men, boys, young men. I could see it being a little bit of an issue for some of the skill set players that's playing football.
I think if that's a possibility, it's way in the future.
Yeah. And I think to Lisa's point, soccer would take a hold of that before flag. I mean, because flag is cool, it's fun to play, but ain't nobody
soccer's already
watching.
competitive.
Yes, soccer's already. They're taking they're taking the skill set guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So soccer's going to be the one to pick up the
Before
slack.
flag.
But flag is going to be something ancillary on the outside. It's like 3-on-3 basketball. So.
All right, well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, or even wrongfully arrested. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Visit frankwalkerlaw.com. Share your thoughts, ask questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Just search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee. And don't forget to like the page to join the conversation. Catch past episodes anytime at WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk. And tune in Thursday nights at 7 or Sunday evenings at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now, back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I want to just say one more thing about about flag football, because I really don't like it. Like, I mean, I really, really, truly don't like it, but I understand it. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I just don't. I don't see there being. If you're playing flag football, I don't understand why you just don't play football.
I mean, like
injuries.
you just said, you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to face the injuries. Flag football has its place. I mean, I think I play flag. One of y'all just couldn't play football for one reason. I played flag at the Y. I think if you're, to me, it's a great segue into the game. If you're 5, 6, 7, you do not need to be playing tackle football, in my opinion. Go play flag.
So you're saying for the kids that don't fit it? Okay,
that's a good idea.
Okay,
I can
live with that. See that's why you do what
then
you do.
You learn the skills. You actually learn the fundamentals.
You can learn the skills and you can have the fun. Mm-hmm. But I also still feel though like soccer still has a huge risk of injury. I mean,
not like football.
Nothing remotely close to football. But you're still running around, diving into people.
But here's the thing, though. What I tell people is like this: soccer, basketball, at times baseball, those are contact sports. Hockey, football, rugby, collision sports. So it's a little bit of a difference when we talk about collision versus contact.
You're playing on the words to make that.
I like it.
You're playing on the words to make that work.
I mean, it is. If you're running into somebody full speed, coming
every
downhill,
single play,
linemen are going head up. It's a different sport, so it's like I can understand why somebody wouldn't want to. It ain't for everybody.
No, it's not. It definitely is not. But
you pretty much get hit every single play.
Every play. Yeah.
I mean, it's true. It's a collision sport. I like it.
Yeah, it's a collision sport.
All right. I'm kind of excited about this next conversation because, and I'm going to give all the props to Hollis who threw it out into the in the text that we were having today, trying to discuss on what we were going to talk about, and he throws out like what is the basically is. I took it as. What is the GOAT? And who is the GOAT? Yeah. But what
does it mean?
What does that actually mean? Mm-hmm. How do you interpret that? Because how you interpret it, I'm going to assume is how you're going to pick that person.
Yeah. And I'll just start it off because Coach Pennington and I were having this conversation during the Super Bowl, and he said something. He kind of said it casually to maybe get my wheels turning. He was like, the GOAT is defined by championships. Period. He's like, when you're talking about the GOAT, it's solely defined by not just championship, but what you do in championship moments. So that made it. That cleared it up for
you.
Me. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
no
a good.
No other judge. No other factors.
That's what. Again, we didn't.
I think there's.
I didn't ask him to elaborate, but
I mean, I think that's a good place to start. Yeah. I think there's other factors that play in. What do you think, Carl?
I think when you say it that way, it does kind of say, like if you say, let's go to boxing because that's usually somewhat of an easier one, even though there's still debates there.
Debates.
But
do you know that's the origin of the GOAT, the acronym? Muhammad Ali.
Oh, okay.
Greatest of all time.
Yeah, greatest of all time.
And I don't think anybody can. You may not like Muhammad Ali, and you might want to give it to somebody else, but the one thing about it is you can't deny him of being, if not the greatest boxer. He's the top 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. He's the GOAT. But I don't know.
But I think when far as my definition is concerned, when I say what I just said previously about what the GOAT is, when we talk about Muhammad Ali, we talk about him being the GOAT in the aspect. We're talking about him in totality. We're not just talking about Muhammad Ali when he fights versus a Jordan. We're talking about strictly on the basketball court. You see what I'm saying?
No, help me with that again.
What I'm saying is this. There's a bunch of great players. Mm-hmm. Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller. I'm just talking about that era. They were all great players in that area. They're not good. They are great players, Hall of Fame players.
Right.
But ain't none of them the GOAT. Because the GOAT is defined by championships and solely championships. Because again, there's a bunch of great players, but what separates great from GOAT?
Well, and to validate that, Eric Dickerson,
okay,
you know what I'm saying? I would make a case back in the day. That dude was everything, had it all. To my knowledge, I'm not sure if he won any Super Bowls or anything, and you don't even really hear his name.
That's
when
fair.
You know what I'm saying? Fair. So to your valid point of saying, okay, championships is – because if you win championships, the other piece that comes with championships is you're always going to be talked about. You win a championship, that team you played on, somebody on that team is going to be talked about.
Okay, go ahead. I see you over there. You over there foaming at the mouth. Can't wait. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I agree that championships should be part of the formula. I don't think it's the total formula. I think there's some other things that play a factor in it. First of all, individual records. You know, if you set some records for your sport, that should be a factor that you look at. The impact on the game. Did you bring in more viewers because your name was recognizable? Did you bring the sport? Did you lift the sport higher than it already was before you started playing it? And of course, overall legacy. So I think it's I think it's generational. I mean, I really feel like we've talked about how the games, even football, basketball, how they've evolved from one style of play to another. So what was the GOAT back in this style of play is completely different from what it is today's style of play. Does that make sense?
I'm glad you said that, because when I refer to the GOAT, I'm not necessarily, I think there's some all-time guys, but I'm generally referring to the GOAT of like your era. Like I think that's kind of but to your point, to what you just said. Now, when we talk about Eric Dickerson in that era, who was else in that era? Then we're going to say the GOAT. Why would we say Walter Payton is the GOAT running back of that era over Eric Dickerson? What's the difference?
I don't know if there would be a difference.
No, there's a difference. What's the difference? One got a Super Bowl and one don't. Eric Dickerson may have more yards, may have a better running style, all that. May have been an overall better back.
Barry Sanders.
But people would argue Emmitt Smith.
Yes.
People would say Emmitt Smith.
Don't you think for the sport of football, though, having one GOAT is probably it's almost impossible.
Impossible. I'd say it'd be
because
impossible.
all the different positions there are in different
I think
play.
Football you can't.
I mean, there can't be
football's hard.
And to your cowboy
reference.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I'm just saying.
But I don't really even think and again, I'm way off base here because I don't see him in that group.
Who is that? Emmitt Smith?
Yes.
All-time leading wrestler. You don't see him in that group?
Nope. Nope.
No, hold on.
Speaking of foaming at the mouth over here.
But let me ask you this. Are you talking
adamantly?
You don't see him as like
he could be
talent?
A GOAT.
Talent?
No, he's great. He's
you're
great.
Just saying like you don't see him as a GOAT running back.
No. He can be whatever you want to call him. I'm just going to say that when I look at that era of running backs and he came in toward the end of it, he ain't Eric Dickerson. He ain't Walter Payton.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and see, and
what
that's
about
why.
Dion?
But okay, let me ask you this before you go on. Lisa defined what her definition of GOAT is. I define mine. What's your definition of it?
I'm going to make the case. The guys who I can't judge the guys now. My GOAT.
No. Just judge it what it is. Don't forget era. I'm just saying, give me just a blanket definition of what a GOAT is, regardless of
what are your
period.
qualifications
What are
for a GOAT?
Mine happens to be either physically or I've actually seen it. You know, I've seen them on film. Whatever. I'm watching these dudes, and
no. You can't judge it like what you've seen and what you say. Because we didn't watch Muhammad Ali fights in the 60s. But so what I'm saying, mine is saying I'm defining by championship moment.
I'm going to say
she's defining by a bunch of other qualifications. So what's yours?
I'm going to say that guy who changes the whole
legacy,
the whole structure of running back, quarterback, wide receiver.
So you said the guy who changed the game,
who changes the game every single
impact,
has the impact to change how running backs run, how receivers
solely
catch.
Solely that, nothing else, not championships, not legacy.
I 100% love the idea of championships, but when I start looking at players at position and try to figure out who do I think is the GOAT, I don't even have to think about a championship. Unfortunately or fortunately, I'm thinking about somebody who I went against and somebody who I saw watching film on, maybe playing somebody else. Maybe I didn't even play.
Okay, well, let's take it outside. Let's take it sport by sport. So let's say, and again,
Football's a bad one for me.
Let's say baseball.
Football's hard.
Let's go baseball first. And I'm saying you can go pitcher, hitter. We're just going there. So I'm saying as a GOAT, who we saying hitter?
Give me somebody.
I'm saying Barry Bonds. And again, I'm breaking my own rule because I don't think Barry Bonds ever won a championship. But I'm just saying as a hitter, it's nothing you can do. But and I would also say to back in that, like a guy like Ricky Henderson, who did it all, right? So those would be my GOAT guys.
See, the first person when you said baseball came to my mind was Hank Aaron.
Okay.
And see, and that might be just my age.
Yeah. And I would also say Greg Maddux, too.
And Pete Rose. I think Pete Rose.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so basketball. Let's go there. You can name a couple if you got them.
Kobe Bryant.
You said Kobe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going Kobe.
See, I would go Mike Jordan. Like I said,
yes.
I don't think you can. To me,
Michael Jordan. I'll give you your point that you're going to say that Michael Jordan should be the first. I'm with that.
Definitely the first.
But Kobe's right there next to him. I mean, to me, those are both
But then
ones.
you've got Magic Johnson.
I don't think so.
You've got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, there's so many.
I love Kareem. I don't know if Kareem could do what Michael Jordan
but he did. He was the leading points. He won the multitude of championships.
Absolutely, he did everything. I loved him. He was my guy, the sky hook.
Yeah.
But that was not it for me. I'm still looking at.
You got to look at it objectively. You're looking at everything too subjectively through your own lens.
That's
you
all I
have
got.
to look at it more
that's all I
objectively.
got.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay, so can we say there's more than one GOAT for every sport? I don't think there's just one, even though that's kind of what the acronym stands for, is the greatest of all time, which
let me ask this.
Tells us it's one person, right?
Is the problem?
It's not plural. It's not
It
goats.
is one.
Let me ask
basketball. It's one.
Well, let me ask
a herd of goats.
Let me ask this.
Herd of goats.
Let me ask this. Is it unfair to try to think that your GOAT is the GOAT?
I'm saying objectively.
No.
It's not unfair.
I know. No, I'm not. I should just use you because you took it. He took that personal.
It's not at all.
I'm just making the case that probably we shouldn't really. We can only speak to the GOAT based on
our experiences
and who we
you
think.
can look at this objectively, and I'm saying,
but it depends on what
I tried to give us a way out.
But I mean that's true.
Yeah,
based on your standards.
If we all have different standards, then we're all going to have different GOATs.
He just does not want to go with anything that I say.
Objectively based on your standards, and I'm saying, but I'm saying even like basketball, it's Michael Jordan, and I'm saying based on championship moments, and then what Lisa said, based on other things, based on the innovation with the shoes and the look, and he changed the perspective of sports in general.
And he has championships.
And he's 6'6".
And the thing about Michael Jordan, I think, is he did everything for basketball.
Yeah.
He did everything. Like, he's the only one, regardless of any of these other guys that have great names, and they may not have even had a chance to do the shoe contracts and commercials and all that, because all those things weren't always available as they have become as years have passed. But when you start talking about Michael Jordan, he amped up everything.
And did everything on the court.
Yes.
Offensively, defensively, hustle, everything, intensity. He brought the totality of what it is. Now
But that's your assessment of him.
I'm objective.
He had a great supporting cast though,
but
when
nobody
he played for the Bulls.
But everybody does.
Well,
that's an argument that I don't learn.
But you remember their names more than a lot of the other support. Like I remember Scottie Pippen.
Yep.
Yeah, and I can't remember the real flamboyant guy. I loved him. I loved to watch him play.
Dennis Rodman.
But any great team, any great players, you have to have players around. That just you just don't get around it. So I'm saying, okay, let's say it like this: quarterback. Who's the GOAT quarterback? We got to pick one.
Go ahead, Lisa. I'm going to.
It pains me to say it. I'm not a fan, but I mean, I recognize greatness. Tom Brady.
Yeah. Man,
it pains me. It hurt my soul to say that.
For me, it's a toss up between Brady and Montana. But I would definitely say Brady just because he did it in a manner that like he wasn't
never been done.
He wasn't the guy. He wasn't a guy in high school. He wasn't a guy in college. He progressively got better.
Yeah.
And I think the way he did it, and to me, what sealed the deal is actually him going to Tampa Bay and winning another one outside of New England system.
That's
and
what
he
sealed it
showed
for me.
you that was about me, not about this organization or this coach.
Uh-oh.
So
I recognize that look
Tom
over
Brady.
there.
I respect everything about Tom Brady, everything. But I'm going to have to go Joe Montana for the simple fact he's got championships as well,
And he's 4-0.
and he's playing in an era. Montana is playing in an era where getting hit was fair game. And getting back up.
That's true.
You know,
Hey, I can't
That's a
argue
good
with
point.
that. And that's
And you gotta
subjective. And that's subjective.
That should be under factors.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
I agree with that.
and getting back up. And some would say, yes, but he had a great team.
And everybody does.
Everybody
man.
does.
Yeah, that's just,
You know,
I don't like that argument.
Yeah, that's a tough argument because
But Brady got a whole bunch of Hall of Famers he played
yeah,
with. So
there's a
it's like,
ton.
come on,
There's a
man.
ton
Yeah,
there
that's
too.
true.
And I think I think because of the era of football and where it was at the time, to win in that era at that time demanded that quarterback to withstand a whole bunch of punishment and different types of defenses that were playing man-to-man and were blitzing like all day and hitting the quarterback after he's
I
throwing
think
the
we
ball.
can argue too that that was sort of pre-free agency, right?
Yes,
free agency
yes.
wasn't as prevalent.
It wasn't
so. Some could argue that Montana kind of knew who he had. The guys weren't moving around as much, right?
Right.
So you had that team, and you knew that year in and year out, this was the Minnesota Vikings defense.
Yes,
this
and
was
you knew
whoever
that.
did-
You knew, but
know
you
what I mean?
knew, but you knew the Bears was coming too.
Okay,
You know
that's
what I'm
a fair
saying?
argument.
Now,
That's fair.
You know
That's
what I'm saying?
fair.
And answer this question: if you were to take the Bears defense, the undefeated team, and drop them into
15-1. It went 15.
yes,
Yeah.
basically regular season,
Yeah.
So you take and drop them into Tom Brady's era, and you're playing them
Under which rules, though?
under the old rules.
Yeah, that's a difference.
Yeah.
That's going to be a difference.
That's a difference.
And the receivers are going to be treated different.
Yeah.
That's why it's so debatable. And
It is.
It's so subjective. I mean, everybody has their own ideals. Like right out of the gate, we all had different ideals of what constitutes a GOAT. And so I think it's just really hard. That's why you really don't have any solid. Everybody has an opinion on it, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say.
And I guess what kind of sparked me to even want to bring this up, because a lot of people were already taking Mahomes out of the GOAT conversation.
That's because they don't like him.
And I'm just like, how do you
Well, I
take
think
him?
it's too soon to put him in it.
I
No, I
don't
think
know.
it's too soon to put him in it.
I don't know.
I'm kind of with you, Hollis.
To me, he's the most talented person I've ever seen throw the football. I mean, he's the most talented person I've ever seen throw the football. And to win, I think he's got two championships, been there like 5 times in this era. I don't know. He's going to be up there.
And to add to that, Hollis,
But not yet. Do you think he's there already?
I think he's
Definitely a
think he's
top
there?
5 quarterback to me of all time.
No,
Yes.
I meant a GOAT. You think he's
He's a
Yes.
GOAT. Yeah, he's
I
a
think-
GOAT
You
of
think
this era.
he'll surpass? He'll pass Tom Brady.
No, I'm
Joe
just saying
Montana?
a GOAT. He's
Don't
the
know
GOAT
if
of this
he'll
He's
era.
on the road to GOATness. Is that what
I
you're
don't know.
saying?
I think he's there.
I think
I
he
think
is
he's
the
there.
he is the
Okay.
modern
Okay.
he is
He's
the
the
modern
modern
GOAT.
Okay.
In
Of this
in
generation.
action right now.
Yeah, facts.
Like he's
100%.
the GOAT now
Of the NFL.
Of the NFL.
I agree.
And one of the things that I think that is really, really kind of unique is he's inside of being a true running quarterback. He's inside of being a pocket quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like he can do any one of them, but he doesn't like
Scramble and
He
all
doesn't. He can scramble, but he doesn't. That's not his forte. He can run the ball. That's
fits-
not his forte. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he can be in the pocket, but he can run.
Right. He fits the requirements of
he-
today's game.
He does everything.
Right.
He can do everything that most quarterbacks can do.
I see
One.
that now.
He's either a runner or a thrower, right?
And
he does all of them.
Do we put
very
Aaron
good.
Rodgers in that conversation?
No, not at all.
Not
No.
at all.
But
Really?
I would say
I know you're a Packer fan.
But I would say this, like if we're
No
looking
way.
at the most talented quarterbacks who like throwing talent, arm talent.
Right.
I mean, it's Mahomes, it's Rodgers, it's Brett Favre.
Right.
They're all up there, but I'm saying overall. And even if you look, as far as Mahomes is concerned, even if you look at the 2 Super Bowls he's lost, it's been because of not great offensive line play. It's not like he went out there and lost the games. Like he just blew the games.
He didn't have time to do what
I mean,
he
the
needed
offensive
to.
line play in both of the Super Bowl losses have been pretty horrific.
Well, and to that point, again, that's where we talk about defense wins championships. Because
in this
the
case it
teams
did.
that have been able to defense him, make him uncomfortable in the
Contain
pocket,
him.
contain him, they win.
They win. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
So, and when you start talking about the GOAT, if you face a defense, because I'm sure, and I can't give you all the names, there were some great quarterbacks during my era. But if you went against the Bears, your stats were going to change that day. And you were going to get hit often. You were going to get hit even if you got the ball off.
Yeah.
They'll take that 15. And so I think to make the point of in those type of eras, it changes, because I don't know if any quarterback today could really face the defenses back in the day.
Yeah.
Just because they were aggressive.
The rules are different.
And the rules are different.
The quarterback's protected. It's not like it was.
Right.
And we haven't talked about LeBron James. We haven't even
Well-
mentioned LeBron.
That's true.
Because he's definitely, I mean, is Steph? I mean, is he the definitive GOAT of his era?
I think I definitely think that you have to put him as the GOAT because of his play. And I really, and it pains me to really say that.
And
But
he's
what
played
I-
forever. Like
Yeah,
he
that's
came
a fact.
straight from high school,
think
so
that's
it's like that's
forever.
I mean, I can't remember the NBA without him. To be honest, it was
Right.
like we went from Michael Jordan to LeBron.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me anyway. But because how many years has he been in the league? I mean,
20 plus.
20-some plus.
20-some, yeah.
And I think to your point, I think
22.
That longevity,
22.
I think, and starting at a
Yes.
young age, and that longevity, and still playing
At a high level.
at a high level, I think that speaks volumes, and speaks volumes over any and everybody else
In the era.
in this era.
But and he took that Cleveland team. I can't name one player off that team, and he took that team and won the championship. I mean, when you
How
talk
old was
about,
he then?
when you
Yeah.
talk about players,
Yeah.
role players,
He carried everybody on his back.
He put that team on his back and said, "Let's ride."
He
and
did.
that was not a great team by any stretch of the imagination.
How young was he then?
I don't
was
even
that,
know.
10 years ago?
10, 15 years ago?
Yeah,
maybe,
he was
maybe
younger.
So he was
30s,
much. He was much
late
younger.
20s.
Much younger.
Yeah, he was much
I think it was
younger
his
than
second
that.
stint in Cleveland. Yeah.
But I think as he's gotten older, I think he's realized that he needs help.
The Lakers realized that, obviously.
And I think he's gone to teams or been part of teams that have had multiple players.
Well, he did that when he was young. I mean, he did that prior to winning the championship in Cleveland. So, as far as going to Miami, but I'm saying coming back and winning with that squad.
Yeah,
bro,
that was
feat.
remarkable. I remember that.
So is okay? So let's say you take LeBron, he's the GOAT. Okay, is there anybody else that
Steph? I mean, I would. Again, when we talk about championship moments, when we talk about somebody who changed the complexion of the game, Steph Curry changed basketball. When you look at like what's going on for good or bad, like it, love it, or hate it, this is a result of Stephen Curry.
Yes.
So I think people don't want to like admit that, or maybe they'll try to, say Steph era kind of started a little bit after LeBron's. But I'm just saying this era, you got to mention them too, to me, in my opinion. So it'd be kind of 1 and 2, 1A, 1B.
is it the best all around player as a GOAT and the best shooting player as a GOAT?
No, because I would say, Steph, he won championships. They both won championships.
I understand that.
Steph is 4-0 in the championships.
I understand
And the
that.
impact on the game.
And
what
the
you
impact
just
on the
said.
game.
He changed it. He
Yeah.
changed
Yeah.
the look of the game.
But can you? I'm just trying to make a difference between the two. LeBron is just an all around kind of player.
Yeah.
Inside, outside. Steph is a shooter.
See, I would argue that because people think that, but there's never been a combination of a person who has that degree of handles and can shoot. And I think that's the missing piece of what people don't talk about with Steph. Because Steph is not like a Reggie Miller where he has to run around and try to get open. Steph can actually create his own shot off the dribble.
Yes.
And I think that's the part that people like. That's what makes him impossible to defend in addition to the range. So I think when you're looking at a person who not only gave us the range for shooting the ball from beyond the arc, but also can create their own shot where they have the dribble and the shot together. And that's just, it's not something normally seen in basketball.
So when you look at Magic, okay, so I was thinking, when you was talking about that, the first name came in my mind was Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now when you start talking about that, Magic had the handles, he had the passing, he could shoot inside, outside.
He had the name.
Yeah.
And he had a championship.
Yeah, and he had championships.
That's what I'm saying. So you could argue that too.
I mean, because he's a bigger version of a different skills than Steph.
Nah, those are two different players.
What about Larry Bird?
Yes.
Everybody, you can put it championships. You can put him in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Championship gold medal.
Well, let's ask this question. Does it take
more than
those
one
kind?
goats. Yeah,
Yes, I think there's definitely more, especially in basketball.
Yeah.
But those in basketball, it's those players who can do all of it.
Well-rounded.
A combination of well-rounded basketball players.
See, I think in basketball, in order to be a GOAT, you have to, because there's so many great and good players. Because even like in this era, Kevin Durant's a great player. I wouldn't consider him a GOAT of any era. I wouldn't consider him to GOAT of this era. But I think in basketball in particular, you got to kind of change the game a little bit in order to be in the GOAT conversation. It's not good enough that you just good. Like I think Shaq, was a GOAT. Because we've never seen anybody that big, that mobile, that skilled ever play darn near any sport. So you got to be able to change the game a little bit.
But I think those players, those basketball players who come in who have all of those skills, I think that they do change. I do think that they do change the game. I think that would be the one sport that I think could be very difficult because, again, when you look at Kareem and you look at just the sky hook.
Yeah, but I don't think he changed the game because he's the only one who did it. And it ain't been really done since.
But he dominated with it.
Dominated with it, but he didn't change the game with it.
I think he changed. I think he did. I think I think he did.
Nobody else does it. You can't change the game and nobody do it. Everybody tried to mimic Jordan. Everybody's trying to mimic Steph. Like to your point, you said this several weeks ago. When you look at Magic Johnson, now you got the big man playing the point guard and playing out front. Them guys changed the game.
So that's so what you're saying is championships number one. Let's rank this.
It's number one.
Number
to
one.
me.
Impact on game number two. Impact on the game's the second.
I would say that, yes.
Okay.
Impact on the game.
Okay, so where do you think records, lands, and legacy?
Individual records?
I think those are after that.
Yeah,
after that, for sure.
Because you may not have records, but you can still change the game.
And you can still have a legacy. People will remember who you are and your name. I mean, look at Dennis Rodman. I mean,
legacy is kind of the combination of all that.
Okay.
But I would definitely say championships, your impact on the game, probably your impact outside of the game. Like what you did to impact the game, like did you bring eyes to it that wouldn't normally come, like a Muhammad Ali, right? Then you could look at records, then legacy, and different things of that nature.
Well, if switching back to Muhammad Ali, when you start talking about bringing eyes to it, I don't know if anybody brought any more eyes to it than Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, and I would agree with you.
No, that's for sure.
Now if you want to try to
talk about it.
Yeah, he's still in the conversation. And you look at Mike Tyson, everybody was watching his fights with the idea of it might only be 2 rounds.
But with Mike Tyson, what did you do in championship moments?
Right.
You didn't beat Evander Holyfield. You didn't beat Lennox Lewis. You didn't beat the premier fighters of your time and your era.
Yeah.
So to me, he can never be the GOAT.
Right. But Rocky did.
Rocky. Oh, Lord
He beat Apollo Creed.
Oh, Lord.
On that note, we might need to get out of here.
Rocky did.
I think Lisa has stopped it off right there.
We're good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back here again next week, and hopefully Lisa will still be laughing.
That's hilarious. Rocky.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Visit frankwalkerlaw.com. Share your thoughts, ask questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Just search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee. And don't forget to like the page to join the conversation. Catch past episodes anytime at WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk. And tune in Thursday nights at 7 or Sunday evenings at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee.
If you fall, dust it off and get back up on your feet. Anything could be a win, yup, even defeat. They say sugar bad for you, wise victory sweet. Couldn't play with big kids, I had to sit in the street and watch from a distance, but over time I grew. If I put in the work, in no time I'm due. Everything that I worked and prayed, I'm okay. If you ask me, how did I do it, I'm gon' say, you gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work. 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 You gotta work.